Hello and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video. Last time out I started to review the BlackSquare Analogue Bonanza Steam Gauge add-on. I think I've got that in the right order, which is available for £24.99 off the Just Flight website. In the last video what I did is I went through some of the details that this aircraft has, the way it changes things from the default aircraft, and the flight deck or cockpit, which you cannot see because it is covered by a whopping great chart. There is a reason for these charts being up in front of you on the screen as opposed to the aircraft that is in the background. There will be plenty of time to be in the aircraft and in the cockpit over the coming video. So I went over everything that this aircraft had to offer, but I did not actually take it out for a flight. That is what this episode is all for. Before we continue, just as a note, this aircraft was supplied to me, this key for the aircraft was supplied to me by Just Flight, but as usual, all of my views and opinions are completely my own. So, what are we going to be doing in today's video? Well, I'm going to take this aircraft out for a flight, as I said, and the reason Navigraph is up right here is because I'm going to show you the flight that I'm going to take, and hopefully this should give me a chance to show you plenty of features of this aircraft. So the plan is, currently, I am here at Oxford Airport, Echo Golf Tango Kilo. We are going to take off runway 19. There is barely any wind to speak of. I believe there is a very, very slight crosswind of about 1 knot. So I could take off either runway, it really does not matter. But I am going to take off runway 19. Now it does say avoid overflying Kidlington. We may have to do something here. But I'm going to take off 19. We're going to climb to about 500 feet, something like that. And then I'm going to turn to a heading of 270. Or sorry, 090. Reciprocals 270. 090. So we're going to be going due east. As we go due east, we're just going to fly completely due east until we are directly south of Westcott. And in this time, I'm going to continue climbing all the way up to about flights level 120. Once we get to Westcott, we're going to turn direct to Brookman's Park. So we're just going to work out what Brookman's Park is over here. We're going to just work out exactly what the radial is to intercept it. I'm assuming it's going to be something along the lines of just looking at where we could be. So if we're going to be about there, it's probably going to be about 120 maybe inbound. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fly that. We'll continue Brookman's Park. We should be at flight level 120 very quickly with this aircraft. And at flight level 120, I am going to pull back on the throttles a little because this is the turbocharged engine. I am going to pull back on the throttle a little so I can show you the engine monitoring system and how to lean the engine in this particular aircraft. Once we get to Brookman's Park, we are going to begin our descent at approximately, if possible, 1,000 foot per minute at no more than 140 knots. We will fly from Brookman's Park direct Lambourne, which is a 122 inbound to Lambourne. From there, we will come straight down and we are going to attempt to intercept the DME at 10 miles or distance marker 10 miles from the ILS for Southend. So Southend's ILS is 111.35. So I'm going to do an RNAV. I'm going to use the RNAV system and the RNAV radio to move the Southend ILS, hopefully this works, to about, it should be about here near Tilbury Docks. This should be about the 10 mile mark. And then from there, we're just going to intercept and fly the approach in. We should be at 2,500 feet by 10 nautical miles away. Then we'll cross into the Class D airspace for Southend and fly ourselves all the way down, landing at Southend and ending the video after my final thoughts. So that is the plan. Make sure you stay tuned, and I think that is about it. Let's get started. Let's see what this aircraft is all about in the air. Okay, so I do have my head tracking enabled, and it seems to be working fairly well at the moment. So as you can see, I do have tip tanks, but probably will not end up using those. May do it at some point. I do have to remember, or try to remember, to this should really be in that position. I should really try to remember to swap between these tanks. That is something I am going to have to do. I think every 15 minutes or so I will need to be doing that, so it should have 3 or 4 swaps. So let's go through the entire checklist and make sure that everything's working. I am going to get rid of both of those steering columns at the moment, or yokes, and let's go through the checklist. Let's keep this nice and quick and see what happens. So we're going to say that is complete, that is fine. Cabin doors are latched, yes. Parking brake is set. Now, I think that's the parking brake, yep. That works. Emergency gear handle is stowed, that's control 9. There we go, that is stowed. Avionics breakers, all the ones down here, are all in. I am going to make sure that that is all the way down. Flaps are up. Yep, definitely up. Oxygen pressure is somewhere, there it is. It is in the green. Avionics are all off. No, that one is not. There we go. Throttle is closed. Prop high RPM. Mixture full rich. There we go. Cowl flaps are open. Yep, that is open. Aileron trim is centered. It's a bit difficult to see it here. I wonder if there's a better... There we go. That is centered. Oh, why did that go all the way to the bottom? Why has that done that? Alternates air is off. That is that one there, I believe. Firewall valve is open. Pushed. That's one there. Landing gear is down. Sub-panel switches all off. Load meter is set to primary. Main breakers are all in. Alternate static air is normal. Where's that? Am I missing something? I'm going to assume it's somewhere here. Alternate static air. And normally it's down here. This is where you normally find it. Okay, well, I'm going to assume it is normal. Ah, there it is. Alternate static air. That is in normal. CO detector test. Working. Fuel selector, fullest tank. So what you do is you click on that and then rotate it around. So that will do. Both tanks are actually have the same amount. Beacon lights go on. Nav lights can actually go on. Battery master goes on. Bus voltage, 23 volts, checked. Annunciators, test and consider, they are all fine. Primary alternator on, standby alternator on. Main fuel quantities are half a tank and half a tank, which is fine. Tip tank quantities are also half a tank. Fuel pump should be on low to check. I can definitely hear that. Auxiliary fuel pump off. Standby gyro pump on. That light is illuminated. Instruments air is green, which it is, and that pump can now go off. There we go, that is complete. Right, this will be a cold engine start. So mixture full rich, prop high RPM, throttle full open, just like the Beechcraft Baron. Put that up to high for a few seconds. You can see that is coming to life as well. Switch that off. Bring this just about there. It's all clear. That person is unfortunately not. And let's go ahead and engage the starter. Aircraft is on, and we shall give it a little bit of throttle just to hold it at about 1000 RPM. Good. We are good. Off start checklist. Oil pressure, green, yes. Start annunciator is extinguished, yep. Low volts, extinguished. Alternator load is Below 25 amperes in 2 minutes, barely anything. Bus voltage is at 28, which is good. That's because the avionics are not on. Lights as required. Well, let's go ahead and just switch on some panel lights, taxi lights in a minute. Flood lighting, no, just panel lights, and let's make them nice and bright. There we go. That will do. What else do we need to do? Weather radar, standby. Oh, the avionics need to go on. Avionics on, and let things start kicking in. So let's go ahead and switch on all the avionics, and you will see some of these come to life. There we go. Switch that on, switch that on, switch that on. That is all looking fairly good. Good, that is all done. Parking brake release, and then we're going to check the brakes. So release the parking brake, start rolling, check brakes. Brakes are working, good. Parking brake back on. And now, where are we? I guess we should probably do our taxi. Which direction are we facing? That's a good question. Go and do that. Let's go ahead and start moving off. I would say that we would want to be facing, would want to be going in this direction. Yes, runway 19 this way. So this is where we want to go, and we'll do our run-ups and everything when we get a little bit closer to the runway. We will lean our engine as well for taxi. So the last thing we want to do is foul the spark plugs. That would be a problem. That would very much be a problem. Now I should probably put the initial ADF, put the NDB in for Westgate, which should be, what's the ADB for? ADB? Yeah, ADB, well done. What's the NDB for Westgate? Trying to remember. It's 3 something. Going a little fast. I'll check on Navigraph, I think is what I shall do. Should we stop at hold up Bravo 1 to do our run up? This is a hold point, but perhaps not the hold point I want. I'll have to check on Navigraph as to what exactly Westgate's number is. I think it's 335 or 353. One of those. So let's just dial in 335. 335. I think it is 335. Oops. There we go. That will do. Aha. Runway ahead. Let's go ahead and stop right here. That will do. Parking brake on. Good. Let's swap that frequency in. So we just want that. Initial heading that we're going to be looking for is going to be is going to be 090. So we'll do 090 there. And then we'll go through the run up. That is that. Barometric pressure has been set. We're going to set up for 12,000 feet. So we'll set that up too. And I think we are good for now. That looks fine. So let's go ahead and check the run up. Parking brake set. Annunciators, test and consider. Everything seems okay. Remote compass, labelled and aligned, that is fine. Mixture needs to go full rich. Throttles need to go to 1700 RPM. Slightly more. I can hear, you might be able to hear the turbo whistle behind that, which is really quite cool. There you go. Exercise propeller to a 300 RPM drop, so we're going to look here for it to go down to about 1400. That propeller noise is, I mean, that turbocharger noise is great. There we go, that looks okay. We'll now check the mags. So we're looking for a 150 RPM drop on the left. That's about 100. Back up to both. And now to the right. Do the same. In the meantime, whilst that's happening, instrument air green, primary alternator is... Oh yeah, we're going to switch the primary alternator off in a moment. And that looks fine. So we're going to switch this alternator off. I'm not sure how this works. Alternator off. Switch this to secondary. Load has increased massively. So we'll go back and do that. Oh, I suppose if we did that and did that, load goes to 0. Put that back to primary and bring that and that's back on. That's fine. That all looks good. Prop heat can now go on as a check. I should have had that on. That's good. That works. Pitot heat can probably go on. We could check this with the Autopilot, but in fact, you know what? I'll do it. Unfortunately, that means I've got to go all the way back around. Just to show this, so that you can see this working. I'm actually going to bring the throttles back down now, so I no longer need them that high. That's been high enough for long enough. Bring the mixture back down as well. That will do. Right, so let me, for example, set that. Then if I go ahead and do heading, you should see that the yoke... Oh, flight director. Whoops. Oh yeah, flight director banks left. And the yoke should move. Not sure why it isn't moving. That's a slight concern. Or if I put it in heading mode, then perhaps that will help. Flight director is definitely banking. Maybe if I engage the autopilot, that would help. There you go. And that's banks. I thought I did engage the autopilot. No, you have to. You can select the mode and not engage the autopilot. And that is working quite fine. Switch this off. You hear the alarm. I'm actually going to go ahead and set that back to where I want it to be. And flight director can go off, so the yellow bars disappear. There we go. Elevator trim set for takeoff. I think we're all right. Up, down. Yeah, this. I think that is set. It's zeroed. It should be all right for takeoff. Flaps check operation. Yep, they work. Right, I'll have that set for takeoff. Windows are closed. Check. Flight controls free and correct. Forward. To the right. To the left. Rudders. All good. Departure altitude has been set. Takeoff heading has been set. Altimeter has been set. Panel lights are fine. Parking brake can be released. Let's go on to the runway. Landing lights, taxi lights go off. Strobe lights go on. Before takeoff checklist, mixture goes full rich. Auxiliary fuel pump is already off, so that's not a problem. Landing lights is on. This can go into alt mode. Weather radar can go on. Sorry, I've got a new flight stick because my old one is completely broken and I'm not quite used to where the controls are, so I have to keep looking down to my left just to double check things. This can now go to on, and I think we are good for takeoff. So let's go ahead and do what we need to do. Now for the rest of this video I'm not going to have that checklist up. I'm going to be flying. I will fly and use the checklist. If I'm using a checklist, I use the checklist from the manual. So yes, that is what I'm going to do. Everything looks good to go. So first thing, I'm going to hand fly it for a little while, and then we will, in fact, you know what, I want to set my vertical speed to about 1,500 feet per minute as well. So when I do get into that, that is where I want it to be. Flight director, heading, altitude, but the autopilot is not engaged, so we should be okay to fly. And I think here we go. Switch that to nav as well. We'll sort out the nav radios once we're in the air. Might as well have something to do whilst we're in the air, right? Brakes off. Full power. Let's see how this aircraft performs. Slight push to the left as expected. Over to the left as expected. Rotate, gear up with the positive rate, and go up for a 1,000 foot per minute climb. Once we are 500 feet above ground, I will do the turn to 270. This aircraft is very nice. 500 feet, turning 270. It looks like we have a really good climb out speed of about 100 knots as well. So that is really good. Roll out nicely. Sorry, 270, say 270, 090. Keep saying 270 because I'm reading the reciprocal every time. That's not very clever. We'll just continue the climb out. I think flaps at this point can go in. There we go, flaps retracted, so we should start picking up a little bit more speed now. And that is a really, really smooth climb out. Very, very impressed with this aircraft so far. In fact, that was a smoother climb out than the Baron 58, surprisingly. Now there is some restricted airspace below us, but that's only up to 500 feet. We are well above that now. And as soon as we pass 6,000 feet, I'm going to reset this to standard barometric pressure, which is 29902 inches of mercury, or 1013 millibars. Climbing through the clouds, or going into the clouds now. Now we do want to be a little careful. We're not supposed to fly directly into icing conditions. Radar altitude has now switched or cancelled itself because we are above 2,500 feet, so it is not able to read anything above 2,500 feet, so it's gone to 0. And I'm still flying this, as I said, I'm still flying manually just for now. I should probably consider putting Bovingdon in, but not done that. In fact, you know what, let's go to Let's go to autopilot. Autopilot engage. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why have you done that? Why did that not engage? That's a bit weird. That needed to be like that. I must have done something wrong there. That was probably very much me doing something wrong. But there we go. Okay, let me go ahead and pop Brookman's Park in on, I guess we could do it on this, so let's go ahead and press that button, push CV, so that's communications to VOR, and I shall swap this to Brookman's Park, which is 117.5. This should come up straight away over here on this GPS one. So if I swap that in, it should say, there we go, radio 276. We're still waiting for that green needle to turn to point completely north, which it should, in theory. I mean, I'm fairly sure that we should be just south of Westcoast. In fact, I think we are, because if I remember correctly, Westcoast is... what do we have around us? Yes, okay. So we've got those... so Westcoast is about there, or something. Something along those lines. So that is fine. What we're going to do is watch that radio, Brookman's Park, and I'm actually going to tune this to allow us to fly towards it. So if we switch that to 276, so oops, 270 to 276. Now obviously it is not going to stay at that. We are climbing at maximum power, so because it's a turbocharged engine, we can climb at maximum, not that one, we can climb at maximum speed, maximum mixture, we don't have to worry about that, maximum prop, maximum throttle. As soon as we start bringing the throttles back, then we will have to worry about the mixture, which is what I'm going to do once we are up to our assigned altitude. What aerodrome is that? Is that what Westcoast is? I have no idea. Should be somewhere nearby. That is that the railway? Maybe? I don't know. I know Westcoast is around here somewhere, so we should be fine, and obviously this is giving me that similar reading. Now, because I said we're going to go Brookman's Park and then over to Lambourne, what I will do, as we are climbing nicely still, cabin temperature is apparently too cold. Oh, it's cabin heat. Whoops. That is what I wanted to do. That is what that little blue light is there. So there we go. That works. What I'm going to do is, this is probably going to end up somewhere along 280 once we get there, somewhere along those, so that is fine. I'm already going to tune in Lambourne on a 115.6, so that is Lambourne ready to go. And what I really could do is I do not need to, because it's direct from Lambourne, Brookman's Park to Lambourne, I could do a 122 inbound, or I could very well just add 180 to that and just say, well, that's going to be a 302 outbound from Brookman's Park. Yes. Is that correct? So 302, yes, if I follow the 302 outbound, that would give me, so then it's actually 122 outbound, not 122 inbound. Yes, it's 122 outbound, 302 inbound. That is what it is. Although it's, I always get these confused, and this shows that I do not fly aircraft day in, day out. I know what I want. I know what I wanted to do, and I can do it. Westcoast is behind us already, so I should probably grab whatever radial we were on and switch this into nav mode, and hopefully that should. Yep, there you go, turn in and follow the radial to Brooklands Park. So that shows the nav mode works. We are 1,000 feet from our assigned altitude. If we have a look at the distance, we are 29 nautical miles away from Brooklands Park. Looking at the speed that we are doing, what I could do is take the outside air temperature, which is -6. Ooh, we have just gone into icing. That is not good. I'm not supposed to do that. I'm not supposed to fly in icing conditions. Defrost, defrost, defrost. That was a bad idea. Swap that to that. Keep that in that mode. Actually, just do that. Leave that on, and then our next one is going to be when we come back down. Yeah, that was a bad thing for me to do, flying into frost like that. Very, very bad thing to do. Okay, so we are currently travelling towards Brooklands Park along the correct radial 278. We are 25.9 nautical miles away. Then we're going to go to Lambourne. I think I've got this right, so it's going to be 120. Yes, I have got this right. This is 120 inbound, and then it's going to be 122 inbound to Lambourne. I did get that right. It's the 302 outbound from Brooklands Park if I wanted to do that. But because I've already got this at 120, this is not going to be too difficult to move in. So you can see that I'm on the 278 radial, and I've got this pointing at, well, not 120, sorry, 9101. What's that? It's not 98. Somewhere around that. It's somewhere near 100. I keep saying 120 because that was what I had planned. Was it going to be 120 or not? Right, in the meantime, let me go ahead and sort out this engine. So we are going fairly fast, so what I'm going to do is reduce the throttle a little. I'm also going to show you this. So we are at -10, so all I'm going to do is get -10 here, and our altitude, which is 12,000 feet. Say 12,000 feet. Let me reset this correctly and get that climbing once again for the 12,000 feet, because that was something I should have done. There we go. That climbs. Let me go ahead and set this 12,000 feet, and we're looking for -10, which is about there. So our true airspeed is nearly 200 knots. So let me say, for example, I want to slow that down just a little. So I want to slow it down, and I'm going to then have to adjust my mixture. So apparently cylinder 4 is cold. Oh no, that's just saying something's cold. So what I'm going to do is drop the throttles just a little, not a lot. Let's just say that much. It's just a little bit of dropping. Now the reason I've dropped the throttles just a little, so I do not want to slow down too much, but what that will do is, because I'm not at full power, I've only got 19 miles to explain this, because I'm not at full power, the critical altitude for the turbocharger, so that is the altitude at which the turbocharger can compress the air to sea level, beyond that it cannot, that critical altitude is going to drop. Now it probably still isn't at 12,000 feet, but it is going to drop. So for that we may need to adjust the mixture. So how do we do that? How do we go ahead and adjust the mixture using this tool? So we're going to use lean rich of peak for maximum power, and we're going to use the lean fine mode. So there are lots of things that this thing can do. For example, as you can see, if we step through it, it gives us plenty of things, gallons per hour, so how much fuel we have. Oh, speaking of fuel, switch to that tank. There we go. Let's make use of the tank. So that one, we've taken down 1/8 of a tank there. We'll take down 1/8 of a tank here, and we should be down to a 1/4 tank on each one afterwards. So as I was saying, we can switch through a lot of different bits of information. this can also go off. Sorry, I'm trying to do multiple things right now. So these are all the cylinder temperatures, I believe. Oil, -4, cold, that's outside. Battery voltage, oh, that's outside air temperature. 19, what? This isn't 19, it's minus. Okay. 64 difference. I don't know what all of these things are, and then obviously at the top that gives us our power. So if we go to lean find mode, you'll see it says lean R. So that's lean rich of peak. There's a little click spot in the middle which clicks both these buttons together, which will then, I think, move it to lean of peak, which is for maximum economy. So we're going to pre-lean the engine. How do we pre-lean the engine? What we're going to do is we're going to start bringing the mixture back, and so we're going to see a flashing dot come up on one of the cylinders. There it is, over the number 4. Just see that. So check this, 12 miles, we're okay. So now that we've got that flashing dot, what we want to do then is this is now in lean find mode. So we are now going to do lean rich of peak. So we're going to continue leaning the mixture until a whole column starts flashing. So it should be column 4 for cylinder 4. There it goes. And now it says leanest. And that is right there. Now, after we do that, what we then want to do is we want to bring the engine mixture so that this number here goes negative. So that is how we're going to get our best power. And we want, I think what we're looking for is about, I'm hoping this works, yep. So start bringing the mixture up. We're looking for about minus, according to this, it's about minus 25. I believe this is a temperature difference in Fahrenheit. So if this is a temperature difference in Fahrenheit, we're looking for probably 50 to 100. If I had that in Celsius, then that would be 28 to 56. So let's say, for example, there. And you can actually see that we are getting more power now out of the engine. So that is done, and that is actually ourselves leaned rich of peak. So we have the most power we can get. Then we can just go ahead and go back to step, and it moves back into whatever other mode you want. For example, that is a nice cycle mode. You could go ahead and do lean find again and do it again, but it's all up to you. Whoops, I did not want to do that. Uh-oh. That is not good. Be very careful when flicking that switch, because I've just lost my GPS. Uh-oh. That is, well, time for some emergencies. So we're going to use our second display for now, which is going to be 115.6. This is why you have 2, because sometimes the pilot is a bit of an idiot. And then this I wanted to be 111.35, although we are going to tune that a little differently in a moment. There we go. Now, speaking of tuning these things, we have 4.4 miles. We do need to begin a descent. Let's okay that. Okay, we are okay once again. Although this is not. Yeah, that is fine. So we are going to start setting up a descent at a lower speed, as I said. So 3.5. Perhaps I should slow down. We want to descend to 2,500. And our descent rate wants to be 1,000 foot per minute. We've lost the, it looks like we've lost the ADF, and we want to set this to, right, so let's go ahead and set that back to heading, and then set this to 122, and swap that over. And that's Lambourne, and at that point we go into nav mode. I said we go into nav mode. Oh, it's because it swapped that over again. Go into nav mode, and we should turn towards Lambourne and drop the throttles to start slowing down, and let's begin our descent. Right, we're now going into a descent. It's a little bit finicky, but that's just because of how it is. So I can really bring these throttles back now for 1,000 foot per minute descent. Now, very quickly, I've only got 10 miles to do this, so I'm going to tune in the RNAV. So for the RNAV, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, what is the frequency I want? Well, I want the frequency of this, which is 111.35, which I should probably tune in anyway. 11135. What is the radial I want for this? I believe it's going, oops. So I'm going to press data, moves to radio. It is going to be 233, I think. There we go. And how far away? Well, I want it to be 10 miles away. There we go. That is now done. So what I could do is, once we get there, all I've got to do is swap that to RNAV. Oh, and press use. There we go. I need to swap that to RNAV. Once we are over Lambourne, we're going to turn in, so we're going to have to figure out what radial we are on. So we're going to press check. There we go. We're currently on the 287 radial. So we're just going to have to try and intercept this in some which way. Now, last time I did this I was okay. And it looks like we've got a good speed, 140 knots descent. We're doing quite well. So I'm quite happy about that. And I know this all seems a little bit rushed, but there's a lot. Unfortunately, there is a lot going on. We are going back into a cloud. Make sure the defrost is on. Make sure we've got some heating going on too. 5.8. So yes, what I've done here, now there are multiple options. We've got waypoints here, so what you could do is you could actually tune this and have different waypoints, and then set up every waypoint and then just use it as you wish. But at the moment I'm only using one. We're going to move this into VOR mode, because we do not need that in RNAV mode. So that is just the accuracy. So you've got more higher accuracy all the way around. In fact, I guess RNAV accuracy will do for us. Speed wise, we're doing really well. I am surprised. Unfortunately, I've not even had a chance to look out the window. That is how busy we've been. There's the Millennium Dome, or what do they call it nowadays? O2 Arena. London City Airport over there. Canada Square, Canary Wharf, and all of them over there. So that is the side of London. As I said, we're looking for this area. Right, actually, where are we looking for? Yes, I think it is this area here where we've got the Tilbury Docks. So that there is the Tilbury Docks. So we're aiming for that area roughly, and then we'll turn in and land at Southend, which is just about there somewhere. So let's see if this works. Now, since we are descending to 2,500 feet, it's probably a good idea to get my barometric pressure set. So just press B, and there we go. So we are descending now into a specific altitude as opposed to a flight level. Lambourne is just below us. So at this point, what I'm going to do is check what radial we're on, 281, and I'm actually going to see if I can figure this one out. Keep going heading, and then I'm going to switch this to RNAV and that to RNAV 2, and we're going to fly that. There we go. And that should be exactly what I want. Now, I'm not sure if nav mode will work with this. It is working. So for some reason in the King Air, I could not get it working. But here with RNAV engaged, it seems to be working. So I could just move the heading. Yep, I can move that. So that I'm going to move to our landing, which is going to be what runway is it? Runway 5. So it's going to be runway 55.3 is, I believe, our runway that we want. So yes, as you can see, the RNAV, what I've done is I've just moved. So all I'm doing is I'm just heading for that location there because I've moved what is supposed to be at an airport over there. Simple as. And it really does work. It's very, very useful. This is extremely useful. Right, so we can switch pitot heat off now. Put the floodlights on, but I've never been really a big fan of the floodlights. Still descending nicely at 140 knots, which is really good. What I am going to have to do is I am going to have to slow down, and as I slow down, I am going to have to work on the descent rate. That being said, what I could do, this should work. Because that angle is pretty small. I may be able to arm an approach. No, I cannot arm an approach because I'm in the wrong mode. So what I would need to do is I would need to set, I think it probably works off this. Yeah, the approach mode may work off this one. So it'd work off the HSI, so I'd need to do that. If I leave that at RNAV, we are heading in the right direction, so I'm okay with that. I could do this. I could set this course to be in that direction. Keep that in heading mode, which, because now it wasn't in any mode. Keep doing that. We are 8.7 from our assumed RNAV. We're at 5,000 feet. We still need to shed off another 2,500 feet, but we are managing it. I've sort of tried to work it out that this should be right. Let's set this up. Let's say 250 feet above the ground. So what we should see is this yellow light and this yellow light start flashing, and I think there should be an audible tone as well. Now if I go to approach mode, there we go. That seems to have actually picked up the approach for some reason. I'll swap that to nav 1. Set this to, maybe we just were not in range. Set that to also, I really don't need to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Set that to that. And we'll leave the heading as it is, and let's see if it does pick up the approach and the glide. So it's armed, and let's see if it picks it up. 6.1 nautical miles to the RNAV. Now you could also press, check there. That will give you a little bit more information that you want. So that's the radio. I'm not sure what that distance is exactly. It does give you certain different distances depending on which mode you have this in. So that's showing at 11.8. That shows it at 5.1. Now, I think 5.1 is the correct figure. So I haven't yet completely figured out how to use all of this, but I am certainly getting there. So we have the Tilbury docks just there, and East and West Tilbury over here. Is there a better view I could put just for a thumbnail? Apparently not. Uh-oh. I changed something there. Do that. Right, so we are coming down to 2,500 feet as we wanted. That looks fairly decent. And we should actually now be turning in towards the airfield. If I can see the airfield. And we are slowing down, which is good, because we are not in a descent, but that's absolutely fine. Please tell me that it is going to pick up what I want. In fact, I think I may have accidentally got this quite right. I say accidentally, may not have, but I think I have got this fairly right. .120 knots is good for my approach, and just waiting for this to actually work. Slightly concerned it may not, because I see nothing moving and I thought I would already be on the localizer by now. Am I not on the localizer for some reason? Wait, no, the localizer is moving. Maybe. Concerned. Oh, that's the runway, isn't it? There's the runway. I'm okay. There it goes. As expected. So this is the Thames estuary going out into the English Channel. Okay, that slight moment of hesitation there. I'll bring the mixture all the way up, and I think everything else here should be ready to go. I'll tell you what I will do is I will go ahead and show you the, let's say, departure descent checklist we've done. Looking for not emergency descent. So for some reason Microsoft Flight Simulator's checklists just do not, they keep getting rid of the scroll. Here we go, approach. That's done. Fullest tank is going to be still the tank we're on, so that's fine. Tip tank transfer we do not need. Piso heat is off. Prop heat is off. Flaps will go into... Should we put flaps into approach mode now? Yes, we probably should, since we are now on the glide. Yes. Let's do that. Flaps go into approach mode, so that should slow us down. So that should slow us down. I need to manually ease off the throttle. That turbocharged noise is great. Really, really good. And gear will come down in a moment. We're still a little bit far away. I think once I cross this bit of the river here, I will then bring the gear down, and at that point I should go to full flaps as well. I will also at that point hopefully disconnect Autopilot. This button should in theory work, and see if I can land this aircraft. We should be able to land it. It should not be too difficult, but you never know. So approach speed, or what does it say for the approach speed? Let's just have a quick look. Approach, that's not the one I wanted. See, keeps getting rid of this scroll wheel, or scroll bar. Very, very bad. Doesn't give me this landing speed. Okay, it's fine, I will figure it out. And at this point I think we can say gear down, full flaps, and disconnect Autopilot. I have control. Yep, that is definitely me with control. And 80 knots should suffice for the landing. So all I've got to do is fly this aircraft straight into the airport. Just watch for a slight seemingly a slight crosswind. So I'll just manage that. And I can just about see the puppy lights just there. So just following those lights now. Give it a little bit more speed. A bit slower than I want to be. Just following those. Keeping the aircraft turned in with the slight breeze. Just watching it all the way down. Slightly higher, I believe, at the moment. Just descend at a slightly faster rate. That is looking fairly good. This aircraft is very, very good to fly. It's a great aircraft to fly. There is a lot that obviously there is a lot to work on with it, and there's lots of things to do. But that's the point of an aircraft like this. You want to be kept busy because it's a light aircraft. There's lots of things to do. So if you are kept busy with it, it makes it, in my opinion, I think it makes it a far more interesting experience when you are very busy with the aircraft and keeping just having your hands full all the way through. Now, that being said, of course, this may not be everybody's cup of tea with the complexity, but I think if you do want a study level aircraft, this is the go-to for a single, well, one of the go-tos. There are a few others, but this is certainly one of the go-tos for a single engine light aircraft. Again, flying this aircraft as well, it is very, very nice to fly. Incredibly good. And I'm going to see as I drop past the threshold. Let's see how this aircraft takes landing. Slightly off the centre line, unfortunately, which is fine, and we are down. That was very, very smooth. That is impressive. Very, very easy aircraft to fly. Great flight dynamics. Yes, definitely great flight dynamics. It has a lot to offer. Unfortunately, I did not manage to switch all the autopilot stuff off. Why does the flight director keep coming on? There we go. And I think we are quite happily... There we go. I think we are ready to pop off the taxiway. Let's go... Should we go this way? Yeah, let's go this way. There we go. Taxi lights on, landing lights off, strobe lights off. Awesome. Okay, so whilst I am taxiing to my parking spot, what do I think of this aircraft? What do I think? Just like the Beechcraft Baron upgrade, this is a high quality upgrade. Where am I going from here? Where have I gone? Where do I go? Just pop onto the grass, why not? I'm not sure this is where I should be going, but I'm going to go down here anyway. I guess it's wide enough for an aircraft. Yeah, it's wide enough. Will do. Yes, as I said, what do I think of this aircraft? Just like the Baron 58, this is a high quality aircraft, a high quality upgrade. There are plenty of upsides to this. As I said, the simple fact of the way we are, or the way you have to fly this aircraft, is in and of itself is a fantastic example and demonstration of the quality. I think I can park the aircraft here. This looks like a potential parking spot. Let's bring the aircraft up onto the grass. Yep. I'll just go ahead and do that. Thankfully, you do not have to parallel park aircraft. There we go, that will do. Parking brake can go on. So yes, lots of high quality, it's a very high quality aircraft, lots of high quality gauges, systems, all the electronics, the way the fuel works, the turbocharger, that was very realistic. The fact that there are multiple variants, or at least 2 variants, I know there are 3, but realistically I would say it's probably 2. One variant is just a normally aspirated or naturally aspirated one with tip tanks. So the fact that we have all of that is really good, but having a turbocharged variant and a non-turbocharged variant where both of them operate completely differently is really important, because in a way that is 2 aircraft for the price of 1. Switch that off too. So I'm just looking through doing some shutdown procedures here. That can go off, that can go off. Those 2 need to stay on for now. That can go off. There we go. So yes, it's like having 2 aircraft for the price of 1. Very good to fly. Very interesting having all of these different units, all these different gauges, this engine management computer. The weather radar obviously is the standard weather radar, but having service-based failures, another great thing. How do I switch this off? Is there a way to switch this off? Maybe? No. Having all of that is really important. In addition to that, just having a steam gauge cockpit flight deck, I think is really cool as well, because nowadays you have all these glass cockpits with all the fancy computer displays on, everything's on one big display. This is just more traditional, and personally I prefer this. It's all high quality inside, all of it is really high quality. The downside of this aircraft is because it uses the default aircraft exterior, things like the door you cannot open the door, that does not work. That is a minor inconvenience. Couple of things that I would change, and these are the same 2 issues that I encountered with the Baron 58, is number 1, the order of these checklists. Realistically, you want normal checklists, then abnormal checklists, then emergency checklists. I think that is the way you want things, or caution checklists, then emergency checklists. That is how it is in the manual, so I think you want to do exactly the same in a flight simulator. And the other thing is, when the aircraft starts cold and dark, all of these avionics are on. So this switch here is off, which I'm going to switch off now. That switch is off, but all the avionics are switched on. And then if you look in the checklist, one of the things it says to do is avionics off. So you have to go around switching all the avionics off. It would be really nice if it just started with them all off. That would be great if you're starting in a cold and dark state. Anything else I need to do here? I think we are good. So let's just switch the engine off. That should cut the engine out, right? Hopefully. There it goes. And that's the engine stopped. And that's about it. There really is no other... I think there is absolutely nothing else that I am going to knock on this aircraft. In fact, just listen to that. That noise of the engine cooling is really cool. And there we go. That is the aircraft shut down. So do I recommend it, and who do I recommend it for? If you like study level aircraft and like light aircraft, and you just want to fly GA, doesn't have to be in the UK, anywhere in the world, you want to fly GA around maybe a town, a city, between two nearby towns, neighbouring towns, cities, whatever, or through an area, maybe have a nice cruise flight through the Grand Canyon or something along those lines, this aircraft is for you. If you like single prop, if you like twin prop, you probably want to get the Baron. Now, personally, this aircraft, I felt that this aircraft was a better fly, though the Baron, I think, is the more versatile aircraft. Having two engines gives you more options as well. If you want to play around with single engine failures, things like that, you've got that available to you. But also, it's just a faster aircraft. You can do more with it. You can fly fairly slow if you want to, but if you want to, you can fly fairly quickly and at high altitudes. This aircraft, not quite as fast, but still reasonably fast. I mean, I was doing about 200-ish knots true airspeed, so still fairly fast. But if you like twin engines, then you want to get the Baron 58 upgrade, but that one is only available for the premium and premium deluxe versions of Flight Simulator, whereas this one is available for all of them. Do I recommend it for £24.99? I think so. I think I do. As I said, the one and only downside, true downside to this aircraft, in terms of that cannot be fixed, is the exterior. Now, I say cannot be fixed. I suppose if BlackSquare want to, they could make an exterior for this. But yes, I kind of would like to see an exterior made for this. But then again, Microsoft Flight Simulator, the default aircraft, they do have fairly good exteriors. So it's just things like not being able to open the door that perhaps is a bit annoying. But realistically, when are you going to be opening the door in a flight? You aren't. So there we go. That is my opinion. Do I think it is worth the price? Yes. For whom? Those people who like steady level aircraft, single engine props, and want to experience something with a steam gauge with high quality electrical systems, a manual to read, and also be able to just generally enjoy. Where are you going? Just generally be able to enjoy an aircraft and a leisurely general aviation cruise. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Microsoft Flight Simulator. What are you doing? Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think. Have you picked this aircraft up? If you have, what are your thoughts on it? Did you enjoy this video? If you did, what did you like about it? Are there things I can do better? Please do let me know. I am always looking to improve. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. Link to that is in the description box below. That is www.patreon.com/ecgadget. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really, really help me out. And also, you can find me on social media, on Instagram and Twitter at ecgadgetlp. Lastly, if you want to go check out my Discord server, link to that is also in the description box below. Everything is in the description box below. That is all from me. This aircraft has decided it now wants to be quiet, so that is perfectly fine. And I shall see you next time in Microsoft Flight Simulator.